Good morning, everyone. We are on the beautiful island of Delos, and look at the ruins behind me. And if you can see, we are literally the only cruise ship here today. How private and exclusive does this feel with Ponant Dumont-D'Urville? Good morning, everyone, and I have the great privilege to welcome Christina from Ponant Expeditions in our office today in our beautiful news store at Nepean Village to talk about one of my favourite voyages. Good morning.
Good morning, Belle. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to see you again. Last time we were sailing the Greek islands, and here we are in your beautiful store.
We were.
Thank you for having me.
I waved goodbye to you in Malta.
You did.
Just it seems like only a few days ago, but it was more than a month ago now.
It is.
Almost a month ago.
Yes.
Yeah. How time flies when you're having fun, right? So we are here to talk about your beautiful ships and brand. So tell us a bit about Ponant and where the ship started and why people should be cruising with Ponant.
Well, I'm going to take you back to 1988. A group of French seamen got together, and what they wanted to do was share their passion and their love for the sea. And that is how our iconic three-masted sailing yacht, Le Ponant, came about. And here we are, 37 years later, with the fleet of 14 ships.
14 ships.
Yes.
Wow. And I was very privileged to go on one of those beautiful ships recently, sailing out of the Med. We did the Greek islands, and we cruised from Athens to Malta. Let's dive into that a little.
Okay.
And let's talk about that voyage. I'm very excited to share lots of social media videos and pictures and stuff like that after this chat in regards to so many different things, from the stateroom. I know I posted a video of my stateroom on our Instagram, which went mental overnight.
That was fantastic.
And can I just say, let's talk about what happens when you get to the ship, because I think you guys do something so beautiful and so different to so many other cruise lines, which is that first impression. And it lasts.
First of all, remember when you said, who is this person greeting us, before we got on the gangway? And it was the captain himself, Captain Pascal. I'm like, that's the captain.
I was so shocked, and I was just, who are these people here? It was a very different experience. Can I just tell you, I've done big ship cruising, and this is one of my first small ship cruises, true small ship expedition style ships. Just arriving to the port and seeing the ship for the first time, I was excited seeing it on paper, but seeing the ship in person was just extraordinary. Just the silhouette she cut, at the port. And then when we got there, we were greeted by a range of people. The chef was down there, one of the head of the entertainment section was down there. And then this gentleman was walking around, and everybody was gasping as, he was being introduced. And I was so shocked. He was like a celebrity. And that was the highlight throughout the cruise. We saw him so often at dinner, getting on and off the ship, but that first impression, it just lasts. And the way he came up and was greeting everybody who came on the ship was just extraordinary. I've never had that before.
The beauty of small ship, the intimacy.
Yes. The
captain and the crew being so visible. Photobombing your photos.
I have so many photos of, the cruise director, the chef. The chef loved to photobomb our pictures we were taking of our food each night. Big shout out to him. The food, we'll dive into that a little bit more. But yeah, that first impression, and then walking up the gangway, not having to drag your bags. I had a gentleman who even took my backpack. He was like, no ma'am, no, mademoiselle, you walk up and I will take even just my backpack, which was like, I actually got to experience that firsthand with, not dragging 10 things behind me. And I took some beautiful pictures of the ship as I was getting on board. And when you step on board, I felt like it was like coming home. Again, there was a range of people there to greet you. There was no formal check-in, it was very relaxed, very...
Let's escort you to your room.
Yes. And then this lady came up and she said, Ms. Goldie, we're going to take you to your suite now. And I was like, you're taking me? and she had my card. I didn't have to take anything again. I was just wandering around looking at this beautiful ship, trying to take it all in. It was very overwhelming, but in a beautiful way. And she got to our stateroom and opened up the door, and I was so surprised. Can I just tell you that the cabins on board the ship were just, well, you see them on my pictures and things like that. They're just beautiful. And from a couple's perspective, it was wonderful having a separate shower and toilet. Can I just say that was probably one of the nicest things for the voyage, because a lot of the big ship companies, your bathroom is all in one, right? And it's important that when you're getting ready in the morning that you have those two things. I felt like everything had a place in the cabin, and it was just put together so beautifully.
Did you notice the espresso machine so you could make your coffee first thing in the morning?
Yes.
Unless you're ordering room service, that's 24/7.
Yes.
Every cabin has its own balcony. If you just choose to sit outside and watch the world go by, minibar restocked daily.
Yes.
Everything at your, like you said, it was being home.
Yeah. And I felt like our cabin steward, her name was Lovely. And can I just tell you, she was lovely. We hardly saw her. She was like this little ninja that came in the morning and in the evening, and we would just see her in the hallway. And she was just so personable. And I think that's when we talk about the Ponant difference, because we talked about that a little bit earlier. For me, it's the crew. It is the onboard experience. It's from the moment you step onto the ship until the moment I step off. I think this is one of the only sailings where I've had a moment where before I went down the gangway for the last time, I turned around and waved, and the crew were actually sad to see me go.
You were one of the last to leave as well.
I was one of the last. I didn't want to get off. I was like, can I please hide here forever? It was just truly magical. So for me, I think the Ponant difference is the overall experience.
There's so many what we call Ponant moments.
Yes.
So many. And the crew add to the Ponant moments.
Yes. Let's talk about some of those moments on our voyage together.
Oh my gosh.
We had so many, but let's talk about maybe your top two.
Well, the one that stands out the most, Santorini. Everyone wants to see the sunset in Santorini. But the difference with Ponant and our Ponant moment was as we were sailing into the Santorini caldera, and there's Santorini in the backdrop and the sun is setting. We've got our French champagne in our hands.
Which is a highlight of the voyage, by the way. It's just free-flowing.
And I think that was absolutely a Ponant moment. What I love is every day not knowing what lunch is going to be. We smelt it before we saw it.
Yes.
Every day, the chef's setting up his long table by the pool deck. Again, every day, it's a Ponant moment.
Yeah, the same for me. I'm a big foodie, so food is important to me when I cruised. I kind of didn't look at any of the foodie pictures or any of the information before the voyage, because I just wanted to be surprised. I guess I had an experience in my mind what the food would be like on a small ship, and maybe not as much variety, but can I just tell you, Ponant nailed it. Like, they hit it out of the ballpark.
It's like having a personal chef.
Yes.
It's made to how you want it.
Yes.
And the variety as well. And every day you've got a different cuisine.
Yes.
That's what I love. It's not the same thing over and over.
Yes.
Every chef is French, and you can tell every day we're getting some local produce from the islands that we're visiting.
Yes.
And they're putting that French flair to the local cuisine. And I think that's what makes it special.
It does.
And delicious.
Yes. I put on nearly 4 kilos in
Every
12 days.
single person did in our group, including myself. And people ask me, why don't you talk about the food? Do I need to talk about the food?
You can see it, like literally. I could come back and see it and I could feel it. I mean, winter's coming, so I need a bit more warmth, so I'm happy for that.
Yes.
But the food was just incredible. And, we talk about the crew. For me in particular, it was the crew in the dining room for me. It was our head waiters. So for me, I obviously have to work while I travel. And I would often be up quite early before the dining room opened, and I would go out to the back of the ship and I would sit at that beautiful part of the deck that overlooked that beautiful pool. and the waiters weren't even on yet, that like they weren't even actually supposed to be working. But Rodrigo knew that that was my routine every morning. I would get up, go grab a coffee, come out and sit and start working before breakfast. Well, he started to be there before I was. So he already had my coffee ready. And for me, that was just a Ponant moment. It was okay, I'm still here working, but I'm also here traveling at the same time. And he just helped me find that balance.
And what about on our last evening when he wrote us all that beautiful message?
Yes.
And created a little rose for all the women to take away?
I still have that rose at home. It's in my scrapbook.
So I think we make an impression on the crew just as much as they make an impression on us.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people got their details so that when they're in the Philippines travelling next, that they go and visit. For me, I've never had that experience before. So when we talk about the difference with Ponant and other ships I've been on, it is the crew. It is those moments.
Our extended family.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Sitting in the lounge every evening as well, listening to the entertainment, it didn't feel like I was on a cruise ship. I felt like I was on a very small boutique hotel.
Private super yacht?
Yeah, a beautiful hotel with beautiful, exquisite staff and food and drinks. It was incredible. I definitely had a lot of Ponant moments. But for me also, something that I didn't think was going to be a highlight for me was cruising through the Corinth Canal. Can I tell you, the lead up to that, the build up, it was so exciting. And the captain made it so exciting. And then we were going, then we weren't. And then there was a bit of weather, and then there was a little bit of everything. But what I loved too was they were just able, with the small ship, they could just change directions so easily and so quickly, keep the guests involved in the experience rather than, this is where we're going, so sad, you're missing out on a port. It was explained, and it was also, but look where else we're going, and this is totally not staged, but this was one of the places that we ended up going to. So I got one of the coasters, and surprise moments for me. And so many people now, when they're in here and doing training, and we have clients in here, they ask where this is. And now I know where this is, because I would actually not have known where Itia was if I hadn't have joined a Ponant ship.
They worked around the clock, but they let us know what they're up to, what their plans were. Whenever you see that captain get up on stage, something's going on.
The celebrity. He was like a celebrity, and we were so privileged. That was his last voyage with Ponant.
Surprise, he retired on us.
Yes.
Crazy. No, what I love is, remember the quote that they said? We can't control the weather, we can adjust the sails. And that is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We didn't make it to Hydra, but that's okay. We stayed there the night before we went through the Corinth Canal. So instead of going through the evening, we went in the morning.
And it was just beautiful.
How magical was it with the music playing in the background? It was so dramatic.
It was so dramatic. And we have some great video footage of you and I sitting at the back of the ship near the beautiful pool.
I remember
as we were going through the canal. But for me, that was my moment.
On either side of the ship.
Yeah, you'll see the videos. I'm going to post some over the coming days, but
I understand why it's a bucket list moment.
Yes.
Now that I've experienced it with you, we totally get it.
For me, that was my highlight, and probably the best. And I've done more than 70 sailings now, and I would say it was my highlight of all of the sailings I've ever done. For me, just the dramatics of it, and the engineering, the understanding behind the background, what goes into getting that ship through that canal. I just, You mentioned in awe.
You mentioned Ponant moment. My second one that I want to mention is the day before we sailed through the Corinth Canal, we did a shore excursion, and it was to go through the Corinth Canal in a little boat.
Yeah.
And my Ponant moment was our destination expert getting up and teaching me how to do Greek dancing on the back of the ship. That's intimate, exclusive, one-off.
And so we're going to talk about that a little bit with Ponant and the differences between you. There's so much variety in this space, I think. But one of the things that you are doing differently at the moment is those shore excursions. And one per port is included, right?
Absolutely. And that day that we went to Delos, we actually hit 2 ports that morning.
Yes.
We got up nice and early, And we were on Delos before watching the sunrise.
Yeah.
That's not a morning person, but I understand why we're getting up early.
Yes.
We're missing the crowds. We're there watching ancient history evolve around us. Our destination experts are telling us the history. We're feeling it. We're in the moment. I do believe one of our guests even ran up the mountain.
Oh, don't know who that crazy person was.
Because it was just us.
Yeah.
And then as we sailed away is when the other, I guess, tourists and cruise lines came. But that's what I loved. And we ended up seeing 2 ports that day.
Yes.
Being a small ship, we're able to manoeuvre and get from A to B nice and early and see 2 ports.
Yes.
And yes, a shore excursion per person per day is included.
And I was highly surprised by the level of guides you guys are using. Can I just say that I've done lots of cruising now, especially in the Med, and even the guides that we've paid for don't have as much knowledge and passion for the destination as what yours do. So,
and then that one stop in Turkey.
Yes.
We had a Turkish expert guide.
yes,
Italy. Every port, every country has its own destination expert.
and I loved that they travelled with us.
Yes.
So I picked a lot of the guides' brains while we were, I'm sure I was so annoying because I'm a history buff. I love the history, I love the culture, the
that was
architecture
perfect for you then.
and the food. Oh, it was, because I was able to sit with them at breakfast or dinner or afternoon tea and just have a casual chat with them about the next port that was coming, and this is what I'm looking for, and can I get this, and the specific things that I wanted to get in each port food wise. And I was able to get basil in one place that was, it was just incredible. So for me, that was a highlight for the voyage as well, being able to talk to the destination experts on the ship, but also their knowledge off the ship was just insane.
And then you come back on the ship and they're holding lectures for us too.
Yes.
If you wanted to know a little bit more, like you said, for those people with the passion and the interest, you come back on board and you can go to a lecture held specifically by them.
Yeah, so for me, that was one of my highlights as well. Favourite port of call on our itinerary? I know it's so hard to narrow them down, but if you had to pick one, what would it be?
Oh, I'm going to say Kusadasi.
Oh, that's mine.
Didn't even think you would. And we spent a lot of time that afternoon together as well.
Yeah.
I just loved the vibe when we
Yes.
got there, and the dances, the traditional dances that greeted us
Yes.
when we arrived. There was just something magical. Going to the ruins in Ephesus,
Yes.
if I'm saying that correctly, walking down where Mark Antony and Cleopatra once walked. That was just pure magic.
Yeah, I loved Kusadasi too because I love Turkey. I love the people and the food and the culture. It's always about the food for me. But the markets, I love wandering the markets and talking to the locals, and, you know.
We were running for the ship. We just got
Yes.
lost in the moment
Yeah.
that afternoon, and
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
That's another thing I love too, where I saw a lot of other cruise lines pulling out of the port. We were just being more immersed into the port because we'd had a trip in the morning and a trip in the afternoon, then we had some free time.
And
I
the
love
beauty-
the free time.
And the beauty of being docked
Yes,
on the sidewalk, stepping on and off.
yes,
You do your shore excursion, you come back for lunch. You go back out to do your own little wandering.
yeah.
The other place I loved was Sicily. And after the shore excursion, I chose to get lost in the streets of
Yeah,
Sicily.
we
And
did
I
that too.
loved that.
Yeah.
Loved that.
And I guess that is the joy of small ship cruising, right?
Yes.
Is that you stay longer in destination, but also the location to the port is so important. If the ship is larger, it can sometimes be an hour and a half on a bus to get into the town, which,
Yeah.
you know, that's 2 or 3 hours each way of your day already taken. And if the ship is leaving at 4 p.m., which a lot of them do, that's really a lot of time lost in destination.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a highlight as well,
Yeah.
is that being right in town, having so much free time, you didn't feel like you were, you know, constantly running for buses or constantly running on your holiday. We were still able to run into those beautiful cities and just relax, people watch, immerse
Yes.
ourselves into the culture and the city and the food.
I
Back to the
agree.
food again. What was the best meal you had on board?
That's tough.
That's very hard.
But I'd have to say it would have to be the lunches on board.
Yeah.
Every day being surprised. And I loved that. It was funny, we were on shore saying, I want to go in gyros. We're in Greece. And that's what I want. And we got back. And what do you know, that afternoon
Yeah.
at lunch, so having that local cuisine and having it there for everyone at lunchtime to have a choice, I love that.
I love the little French flair on everything. You know,
Always.
it's very subtly put into every little moment around the ship as well, and the whole experience. And I was a little bit, they're going to speak French. Obviously, I don't speak French. It's going to be French first and then English. But it was actually really smooth. It was a really nice transition, and it was kind of added to I'm on holidays. I'm in another country.
It's very exotic.
It's very exotic, and
Yes.
I loved it. But for me, the best meal on board would have to be breakfast. I'm a real breakfast person. I love to get up and good coffee in the morning, and I have to say the coffee was fantastic. But I love the little spread every morning with all the little pastries and little bits and pieces.
And you could order room service if you like too.
Yes, I did do that. I took advantage of that an early morning where we had an early morning shore excursion and we got breakfast delivered to the stateroom, which was just lovely. But also having in the dining room, if I wanted a mimosa with breakfast, I did on one or two, maybe a couple more than two. But I liked that you could also just order whatever you wanted. If you just wanted eggs on toast, you could just have that. There was a set menu, but if you wanted to deviate from that, you wanted some avocado, you wanted this, you wanted some poached eggs, you could.
Yep.
And for me, breakfast is the most important start of the day.
And each meal you feel that it was specially cooked just for you.
Yes.
It wasn't cooked for 100 people at once. It was cooked for you.
Yes.
How you wanted it.
And over the period of days, they get to know what you like. And that's what I loved. And by day 2, my breakfast was just perfect. So thank you, Ponant, for a beautiful breakfast. Another highlight was also the gala dinner.
Welcome
Yes.
dinner.
Welcome dinner.
I like that. So you're introduced to the cruise director and to the chef, the head chef, but also the farewell.
Yeah.
You can see why it was really important for us all to experience that.
Yeah.
Captain was more than happy to have a group photo with
Take
us.
pictures with us one last time and
course.
say goodbye.
But I loved that every single crew member got acknowledged.
Yeah,
Was
recognised.
brought up on stage, and I loved how we embraced that and we clapped and we high-fived them. And it's something that even the other guests acknowledged.
Yeah, and surprised about. I heard another couple talking about they've never experienced that before, the level of appreciation for the crew.
Because it takes a tribe to make it work.
Yes, there's so many people behind the scenes, from the engine room to the cooks to the stateroom attendants. It's a well-oiled machine, I have to say. One item that you always pack for your Ponant cruise.
Gosh, I overpack.
That's me too.
Overpack. I'd probably have to say a hat.
That beautiful hat you have on. I have to acknowledge how beautiful you look today and on brand.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that for us
My
and
pleasure.
our viewers. I'm
Of
sure
this
they
whole
appreciate
thing.
that. I just wrapped this up today.
Yeah.
So a hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sun safe, but it's also got a little bit of a
Flair.
That's it.
Yeah.
It just
Little bit
pops
fancy.
with every outfit.
Instagram moments.
Yes. So I do have a few hats that I do pack.
A hat person. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I had 400 grams left to have
When you
30
came back.
kilos. So
Mine was full of souvenirs, and I
Yes.
was just I bought some beautiful things in
what do you pack
as well.
every holiday?
I always pack a really good water bottle.
Oh,
You know,
you didn't have to pack one this time.
I didn't have to pack one. So this was the beautiful water bottle that we received in our stateroom on day 1, and we were able to use it on board, filtered water on board, but
Yes.
also to bring it home as well. And I
Yes.
love that. I love that you guys are thinking about sustainable tourism. So let's dive into that a little and talk about what Ponant are doing as far as sustainability on board. I know no plastics.
That's right.
What else are we doing?
We are making sure we're not wasting when it comes to food, using recycled energy. All of our ships are state-of-the-art, have state-of-the-art technology, so that really helps with the emissions.
Yeah.
On the Commandant Charcot, we sail with liquefied natural gas and battery, as well as recycled energy.
Oh.
So there's a lot, especially with the technology and the equipment that we're using. It's something that we're really proud of, and we will continue to innovate.
Yeah, and I love you guys are also thinking about over-tourism, sustainable tourism, as far as not going to all the big destinations that everybody else is going to at the moment. We talk about immersing ourselves in the experience and in the country and in destination. And I have to say the ports that we went to were so beautifully handpicked. And I know there's someone at Ponant handpicking those destinations, right?
Curating those itineraries, especially around the Greek islands.
Yeah, it was really nice to not be going to all the big ports, but seeing those really small ports as well. And we love that. Is there a moment from this cruise that really captured the spirit of Ponant for you?
I think, like you said, from the moment we stepped on board,
Yeah,
you really felt you were on holidays.
yeah,
A Ponant moment, there's just too many.
yeah.
Every day.
So we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. And a lot of people think that with small ships, it's so expensive, you know, but if we look at the value between big ship cruising and small ship cruising, so typically what are the sorts of things that are included on a Ponant voyage?
We spoke about our shore excursions. One shore excursion per person per day.
Yeah.
Included. Water. You're not paying for a water package. A soft drink package. That's included. The minibar is restocked daily for you, so you can have whatever you like from your minibar.
So no need to get an alcohol package.
No alcohol package. Our free-flowing French champagne is there for you to have first thing in the morning and the last thing at night.
Yeah.
The meals, we don't have specialty dining. All of our meals are included. Gala evenings, our chef's table every lunch on the pool deck.
Yeah.
There's
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Very
That's a
fast
big-
Wi-Fi. Starlink, right?
Yeah, that's a big plus.
Yeah.
You're not paying for Wi-Fi per day, per person, and it's on multiple devices as well.
Yeah.
So you noticed that you were working during the day, you had Wi-Fi on your laptop, you had Wi-Fi on your phone.
Yeah, those sorts of things. When we talk about big ship versus small ship, it's not just the in-destinational things that you'll notice the difference with time and crew ratio and things like that. It's the value add. So, for instance, I did a big ship cruise a couple of years ago in the Med and walked away with about a $3,500 to $4,000 bill at the end. You know, Wi-Fi was very expensive because you have to get the top Wi-Fi to be streaming and working and stuff like that. A drinks package, shore excursion in each port, a specialty dining restaurant. There was a show that we had to pay for as well. There was all these little things that added up to the big things. So, you know, when we got off Ponant, it was so lovely to walk away with a bill less than $200.
And that was your massage,
And that was my massage for my birthday. You know, it was, when people talk about price, we tend to kind of talk about value. So what value that particular cruise line brings to the market. And I think that with all of the inclusions and the price point, it's just beautifully sat in the market. So when you're thinking about small ships and you have this misconception about pricing and they are more expensive. Yes, they are more expensive, but look at the value. Look at what you're going to spend. If your cruise fare is cheaper, add on all of those things because realistically, you're going to get Wi-Fi. You're going to get a drinks package, even if it is water and soft drink. You are going to buy shore excursions, possibly a specialty restaurant. Add all of those items in, compare it with a small ship with Ponant, and look at the value difference. And not only that, all those beautiful little moments, French moments sprinkled in.
Our lectures on board are also included.
All those little things, yeah. So it's the value add. Look at the price proposition between the two. Yeah. So a lot of people are talking about solo travel. People are getting to that age now where they are traveling solo. And one thing that I love about Ponant is the free solo supplement.
It's something I love too. And it doesn't matter why you're solo. We have this great catchphrase, solo friends travelling together. You and I might want to go travelling as friends. It was fun to share a cabin when we were 18.
Is that an invite? I'm just wondering if that's an invite.
Well, our husbands are busy and they can't make it.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, solo friends travelling together.
Yeah.
Why should we pay double?
Yeah.
So our free solo supplement is on over 280 voyages.
Wow. That's incredible.
In Antarctica, I had 57 solos on my voyage.
Wow.
You shouldn't have to pay double. You shouldn't have to miss out. Come along and travel with your friends.
Yeah. So in the beautiful new brochure as well, there is a QR code with some of those voyages with the solo supplement.
And when you see that icon,
In the brochure, that means you've got the solos on that voyage. I love that because a lot of people have partners who can't travel or don't want to tick off those bucket lists.
absolutely.
For me,
Doesn't matter why.
yeah, exactly. So talking about destination, I know you guys are doing some really exciting destinations that some people may not think about when they think of Ponant. I know you guys do the Antarctic so well with your beautiful ships down there.
The polar regions are in our DNA.
Yeah.
That was at conception. So Antarctica and Le Commandant Charcot will even take you to the North Pole.
Wow.
Where everywhere you look is south and everything in between. So 678 cruises, I believe, per year for you to choose from.
Wow, that's a lot of variety.
So wherever your heart wants you to go, we can take you.
A really hot destination for us right now is Japan.
11 itineraries in Japan, and 6 of them are expedition, where we go via zodiacs into around the islands. We can sail into the inland Seto Sea, and that's because of the length of our ship.
Right.
So they've said it can now be 200 metres, the vessel, and we're 173.
Excellent.
So it's perfect.
Tick.
And what I love about our Japanese itineraries is Rio, our Japanese expedition leader, curated all of them for us.
Wow. So actually your expedition leaders have a huge hand in building those beautiful itineraries
Absolutely.
for your guests.
Absolutely. They've got the experience, the knowledge.
Yeah. And
The
they're on the
passion.
ground, right? And they're so
Absolutely.
passionate about their destination. And that's what I love too about those special moments on board the ship was those moments with the destination guides. They really are so passionate about destination.
So you've tried our yachting style. Now I need you to get to try our expedition
Sounds like I need an invite.
sailings.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, leading on to one of your other ships and companies is Paul Gauguin. So we're getting a little bit of inquiry about places like Tahiti, the Tahitian Islands, the French Islands.
Absolutely. So Paul Gauguin, she joined our fleet in 2019. She was purpose-built for the French Polynesian waters.
And
She's
there's
got a
just one
shallow
ship,
draft-
right?
One ship.
One ship.
And she's there all year round. The classic 8-day Society Islands. But if you've got a bit more time up your sleeve, I'd really recommend the 2-week, including Society Islands, the Marquesas Islands, the Tuamotu Islands.
Beautiful.
We even go to the Cook Islands, to Fiji. She's there all year round in
Sounds
those beautiful waters.
Great option for divers. Those areas are beautiful
Absolutely.
for diving, and I would think that a small ship diving would be the go-to.
So we've got diving instructors on board,
Beautiful.
and it all depends on what level you are.
Certification.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can get it on board, or if you've already got it, you'll be put in a different group and going off with the divers.
Yeah.
So we don't mix beginners and expert experience together. Every single itinerary includes Bora Bora. So we know, again, bucket list, everyone wants to see Bora Bora.
Sounds great for those honeymooners too, looking for something small, intimate.
And if you want to renew your vows,
Oh.
you can also do that. We have to book it in advance.
Of course.
Let the ship know.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Everything's included. It's the only vessel in our fleet that it's in US dollars, and tipping is also included. All your meals, your entertainment, your food, your drinks, even your stand-up paddle boards, your kayaking, anything that needs fuel, like a jet ski, would be additional. But everything else is included.
Sounds amazing.
So you may want to stay in your overwater bungalow for a day or two, but then hop on our overwater bungalow that sails.
I didn't
and
even
then
think of
we
that.
will then take you to all the other islands.
That you wouldn't even think of if you were
Exactly.
flying and flopping in and dropping yourself. I guess you could use it as a beautiful exclusive
Your
floating
internal
yacht.
airfares are taken care of, your food is taken care
Entertainment.
of. We've got two private beaches that are exclusive only to our guests.
Wow.
And we'll set up a barbecue. We'll get the villagers to come down and set up some stalls. We've got a bar, a floating bar in the water, so you can, on your kayak, come up and order your pina colada if you wish. And so,
And I could imagine the food would just be amazing as well.
Again,
Destinational.
local produce,
Yeah.
drinking your cocktail out of a coconut. It's on my list for next year.
I'm there. I'm manifesting it. I'm there. I can feel it.
Anniversary, perfect.
Yeah. Vow renewal.
There you go.
We talk about some upcoming itineraries that you guys are excited about. We like to end with some tips and things like that. So what's hot right now for you guys that you would recommend to get on? What is the next hot destination for people?
Oh gosh. I know that we've included a lot more beautiful itineraries around Scandinavia. Also, we've got more itineraries around the UK and Scotland, around those isles.
The British Isles?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So again, I've got a to sail list that's a mile long.
A bucket list.
I know, it's very hard to choose.
I bet.
But there is so many, and Japan's hot. The exchange rate's really good at the moment.
Excellent.
And the Olympics were there, so I think that's why everyone's gravitating to it. I think it's close to home, one flight away. To me, is close to home.
Yep.
Kimberley is our backyard. As Sir David Attenborough said, Kimberley is our natural asset, and it's in our backyard. So that is something I've also experienced, and it's those colours, the oranges, the pinks, and the water is flat. It's just beautiful.
So for those people who may be worried about jumping from a big ship to a smaller ship, you'd start in the Kimberley because of the waters?
I think so. I would definitely recommend the Kimberley. First to brand is usually on a Kimberley voyage.
Yeah.
And then the moment you book your second voyage with us, you're part of the Ponant Yacht Club, our exclusive Ponant Yacht Club.
Let's talk about that a little, because a lot of people are so interested in what inclusions are with, you know, if I rebook again, should I stay with one brand and stay loyal to that brand, or should I try a few different ones? So you have something that will allow clients to choose you for the first time, and you'll status match that loyalty for the first time, so they can try the brand. And then from there, what evolves from there?
So the moment you book your second one, you become part of the Ponant Yacht Club. You get an additional 5% for being part of the club. Then,
It's very generous.
Yeah. I like to call it a spa credit, or perhaps a shipboard credit. Everything's included.
I was going to say, what would I spend it on?
So we've got 5 treatment rooms. So wellness is really important.
Yes.
We've got 5 treatment rooms. We've got a hairdresser. We've got a nail salon. Would you like a massage, a facial?
I did actually experience some, we're going to
Oh, you
backtrack, but I
did?
did actually experience a massage on board. I had the remedial massage.
That was for your birthday,
That was
I
for my
believe.
birthday. I had my birthday on board. I was so blessed to be on board for my birthday. And can I just say, the crew made it magical. I haven't had a birthday at sea for a while. I'm missing my family and my children at home, but you guys just made it so beautiful. And
We had a private little gathering, and the captain and the cruise director and the travel ambassador, everyone came.
and said happy birthday to me. And then I got to spend the evening in Mykonos, which was just incredible. Probably one of my best birthdays without my children, with my family at sea, I've ever experienced.
So that was Delos in the morning, Mykonos in the afternoon.
Oh, it was just
Happy birthday to you.
amazing. Yes, I know. I'm going to have to top it for next year. I have no idea how I'm going to top it for next year. I feel like as I'm getting closer to 50, my birthdays are getting better and better.
Oh,
So let's watch that clock for next year. So back to the Ponant Yacht
yes.
Club.
So then you've booked your 5th sailing with us and you're now an admiral. And then we progress onto a Grand Admiral. And then the highest achievement is a Commodore.
And we had one on our ship. He'd done more than 21 cruises, which was just...
I sailed at Christmas and there were 20 Commodores.
Wow.
On the Fremantle to Tasmania sailing, and I had dinner with a couple that had sailed 44 times with us.
Wow. And I see why your guests come back again and again. I really do, because of that experience of the crew. It's like coming home. And for couples especially, I would feel that you have something for everybody, you know, whether it be the intellects or the foodies or the wine connoisseurs or the history buffs. You tick all the boxes, so many of the boxes for couples.
And there's all the themed cruises as well.
Yes.
If you wanted to choose gastronomy only. Our 3-masted sailing yacht, Le Ponant, is the only sailing yacht to be part of the Relaine Chateau list of properties.
Wow.
And everything, it's just so special.
Yeah, so I understand that guest loyalty is so important to you and keeps them coming back again and again and again, 44 times. Where do you see small ship cruising evolving over the next few years? For us, we've seen a huge trend in clients wanting that small ship expedition style experience, but they're almost not fearful, but they have some reservations on coming from big ships to a small ship. So let's talk about how we can ease that from a big ship mentality to a smaller ship mentality.
What do they like about the big ships? Is it the privacy? It may be a small ship, but you still have your privacy.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we're docking in the city centres and we're hopping right on and off.
No buses needed. No taxis.
No tenders needed at some of the ports either.
Yes.
I love that. I love being ashore all day
time.
into the evening.
Yeah.
So I guess it's what they're looking for. Do they like just days at sea? We've got some ocean cruises if that's the case, and let them experience an ocean cruise and get a taste.
Yeah. A lot of misconception with small ships I would hear a lot is I'm going to get seasick. And I can tell you from experience, I was a little worried about being on such a small ship in the Med, but I hardly felt the ship at all. It was so
They're
smooth.
new ships, state-of-the-art technology, the stabilisers.
Yes.
This is what
you do best as well. With that, I have to say that I was really surprised at the level of no movement on such a small boutique ship. But it was just wonderful, having that small ship experience to be able to get off and on and just being in the middle of the ocean, big wide ocean on the beautiful little small ship. It was just incredible. And she photographs so beautifully as well.
She does.
She's a beautiful ship.
She's gorgeous.
So are you seeing more people move towards small ship now?
I think there's been a shift. I think in the last few years, less crowds. People aren't wanting the crowds anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's small ship cruising at its best.
Yeah.
You noticed it yourself when we were on the islands. It was just us.
There's nobody else there.
That's it.
We literally ported into one of the islands and I walked off straight across to a coffee shop, as I do, try the local coffee. And this gentleman was so surprised we were there. He was like, oh, where did you come from? Because literally we were the only tourists in the area. And he was like, oh, the beautiful ship with the blue hull. I was like, yes, we're on her.
That's home.
Yes. So it was those as well, those moments where the locals are actually surprised you're there. There's not 50,000 buses waiting. And we did a large cruise ship in the Med a few years ago, and there was 7 ships in port with us. And I can tell you, with an island as small as where we were, we definitely felt it. You couldn't find a restaurant to sit down. So it's really important when you are thinking about these bucket list destinations that small ship cruising really is going to tick all those buckets.
And I think for us, it's everything being included. It's all inclusive. You could leave your wallet at home.
Can I
if
tell you, it
wanted
was so nice to get off a ship and not have a bill at the end, even just for small things, like if I wanted to have a cocktail when I got back on board, or a mimosa, or a coffee.
Or your daily coffees.
I think I had about 10 in one day at one stage. But those things, and internet is so important
yes.
for everybody, especially those of us who work while we travel. And the internet was spot on. There was not a moment where I had a blackout moment, which
We
was fantastic.
sailed down to Antarctica, and I FaceTimed my husband every day. And he said...
Was he jealous? I wouldn't have picked up that call. If anyone's FaceTiming me from Antarctica, do not call me. I bet you he was jealous.
I think he was more surprised to hear from me every day. He thought at least 3-4 days you'll be out of range, I won't hear from you.
Yeah.
That is how well Starlink works.
Yeah.
All the way down
to Antarctica, which you don't think.
That's it.
But if I go to Antarctica, you're not going to hear from me from a week, because I'm not FaceTiming anybody. I'm going to enjoy myself in that destination.
Yeah.
Anything you want to end with, Kristina? So, we've talked a bit about the brands, we've talked a bit about the ships in destination and those Ponant moments. Why should people sail with Ponant? Other than all the reasons we've already given them, I think we've exhausted all of the reasons, but there's always those small
I think
items.
If you wanted to feel special, that you're the only one that matters, every meal is cooked just for you, having time to explore at your own pace, it's that we've slowed down the pace.
Yeah.
And I just think, why not come?
Why not? Can't take it with you. I love that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We are so grateful. It was just such a beautiful voyage, and there's going to be lots more coming from us with socials and a full trip report about the beautiful ship and the destination as well. And we cannot wait for our clients to experience Ponant and those moments as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us, everybody online. Have a great day.
Merci.
We have these beautiful new brochures in store with us today, so come down and see us to grab them. I particularly love this beautiful new Feel the Thrill of Exploration Voyage brochure that you have together. There's so much information in here. It talks about all the voyages, the dates, what to expect on a Ponant ship, as well as the Paul Gauguin range, and then look at that beautiful Kimberley brochure.
Destination guide.
Destination guides. Come and see us. If you can't make it in, we can send you a digital copy. You guys have a digital copy as well, and we can post one out to you. But come down and see us at Nepean Village in our beautiful new agency. Come down and see us today. Thank you.
Merci.